It's time to make a wish for needy children at the Grand Dunes Golf Club with the Hadwin White Pro Celebrity Classic, June 20th through the 22nd. Stay tuned. Carolina People's coming up next. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Grand Dunes Golf Club in Myrtle Beach. We're focused on the Hadwin White Pro Celebrity Golf Classic, to be held here at the Grand Dunes June 20th through the 22nd, and to benefit the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And we're visiting with Darryl Ray, the area sales manager for the Coca-Cola Bottling Company, one of the presenting sponsors of the Classic. Good morning, Darryl. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Incredible opportunity all week, having highlighted what's going to be an amazing event, the 20th through the 22nd, here at the golf club. So many other opportunities going on that weekend at the Grand Dunes Ocean Club, Pine Lakes, the thrill of folks coming out to see the pros and the celebrities, and obviously Coca-Cola is thoroughly wrapped around the event, now in its second year.
Right.
Thank you again.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
All the recipients and the volunteers for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. This truly means a lot. Can we talk real quick about yourself? Were you originally from the area?
No, I'm actually originally from Fayetteville, North Carolina. I was born and raised in that area.
You have a family here in the area?
Have my wife's sister has lived here for over 20 years, and we moved into the area about 6 years ago. And since that time, my wife's parents have moved here. And we all sort of live in the same neighborhood now, and it's a good thing, but my parents still live in Fayetteville, so a couple hours away.
You still get up to Cumberland County?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a great
area.
We
go probably once a month or so.
Is that right? Well, obviously a lot of our viewers in Robinson, Scotland County probably get over to throughout the Sand Hills, probably get into Fayetteville quite a bit.
Right.
Quite a bit. When did you join the Coca-Cola Company?
This is my 20th year with Coca-Cola. Started back in '83, and we, like I said, originally started in Fayetteville, North Carolina, came through, spent a couple years in Florence. I transferred with the company to Florence, and I worked in a sales role there, and then transferred to the Conway area about a little over 6 years ago.
And you assumed the position as area sales manager then?
Yes, sir.
Exciting. What exactly does that entail as the area sales manager? And the area for Conway is that Horry in Georgetown County, or is that a larger area?
Yes, our distribution center here in Conway serves Horry and Georgetown County. However, our company, Coca-Cola Consolidated, has about 90% or 95% of South Carolina. It's a franchise. It's a franchised company, and we have everything. But there's a couple of small pockets of independent bottlers in South Carolina. But other than that, our company distributes.
And you said Coca-Cola Consolidated. Is that based out of?
It's based out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
That's right. A very large component of the Coca-Cola family.
Yes, sir. We're actually the second largest bottler in the nation, next to Coca-Cola USA's bottler, which is CCE out of Atlanta, Georgia. So.
Is that right? That's amazing.
Yes.
One of the things a lot of folks probably don't understand is exactly how Coke gets into stores. When they walk into a store, or Sprite or Dasani or many of the things that folks love to buy from the Coca-Cola Company. How does that happen? Could you give the viewers a little sense? Obviously, our focus is Make-A-Wish and on the Hadwin White Pro Celebrity Classic. But just to give viewers a sense of what that's like, the process of getting it in the plan and then getting it out to stores so that folks can buy it.
Right. Well, we have we have a distribution center here in Conway. We don't produce any product here. We get 90% of our product from a production center in Bishopville, South Carolina, and we get the product in from there. From here, we distribute it to the stores in different locations in town. We have several different ways of getting drinks to the market, and sometimes we tend to make it a little more difficult than it has to be, but there's a lot more to it than people think. That to get that product from a production line in Bishopville to a shelf in a grocery store, there's a lot of people that it takes to make that happen. It's a very competitive business, and one that I've loved working in for the last 20 years.
You know, you always hear folks talking about, bottling water, for instance. That must be, I mean, incredible. They must make a ton of money. But then obviously you think there's the bottling, and then there's the getting it to the location where they take it out to distribute and getting on the shelves and having to pay lots of different folks to do that.
Right. It's really capital intense business with all the equipment that we have and the trucks and the facilities and that kind of thing. It's there's a lot of overhead there.
Darryl, was Coca-Cola involved in the inaugural Make-A-Wish Pro Celebrity Classic last year?
Yes, sir. We were involved in that. We had 3 teams that participated in it from our local branch, and also we supplied all the donated product for the 3-day event.
Is that right? Did you participate personally?
No, I didn't. And I was out of town that week last year, and I've sort of come to regret it over the year, you know, hearing the guys that did play in it talk about what a great event it was and what a great tournament it was.
You're planning on being here this June 20th through the 22nd.
Absolutely. I'm making it a point not to miss this year.
Some of your associates obviously participated. You said you all had 3 teams. What did they like best about the 3-day event?
Everything from you know, just the tournament itself. The facility here was absolutely outstanding. The Grand Dunes, of course, was in great shape. The tournament was very professionally managed. It was just first class from start to finish, is what I heard. And also the food was great. And of course the products that Coca-Cola donated was a real winner.
Absolutely. And the aspect, I'm sure there were some memorable moments. Were there any consensus memorable moments for the 9 or so folks that were out from Coca-Cola participating in the Pro Celebrity Classic last year? Were there any things that they talked about, other than all the exciting things about being here at Grand Dunes and the great Coke product and great food? I mean, were there any memorable moments for the men and women who were out here?
Sure. Well, I think anytime you're associated with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the main focus is the children, the wished child. And I heard that over and over, how great it is to see a dream come true and to see the face of a child that's experiencing a wish that's happening right before their eyes. I've heard a lot about that, and I participated in Make-A-Wish events in the past, though I wasn't here last year. And it is such a great thing to see the expression on that child's face and to know that something that they have coveted and wished for and longed for a period of time is actually coming to be.
Yeah, what is that like, Darryl? That must be so exciting, knowing you've been a part of it, helping make that wish happen, and to know that experience. Surely that must be part of the thrill for the pros and the celebrities. Do you think that's what prompts these folks to make a commitment to come in from all over the country to be here for that weekend? Sure.
I think everybody that's involved with the event, they have to have a commitment to that child and seeing that dream come true. Most of the people, whether it's business leaders, whether it's celebrities or professionals, all of those people have had a certain amount of success in their life, and they've had dreams come true in their life. And it's always good just to be able to give that back to a child that maybe has a terminal illness, to a child that maybe their dreams will be limited going forward in the future, and their opportunities may be limited based on the sickness that they have. And it's just so gratifying to be able to come in and to make that come true for them.
Mm-hmm. When you think about that, and surely that gratification for you is probably the most important aspect for you and your associates and all the folks from the Coca-Cola family throughout the country as they think about the opportunity to support Make-A-Wish. But you all are incredibly involved with lots of other charities locally. Mm-hmm. Coca-Cola has been on the forefront for so many, either sponsoring or co-sponsoring or donating product. How do y'all go about making decisions what charities or what not-for-profits or community groups y'all are going to support? Is that a group process within the franchise, or are there certain qualifications that need to be met?
Well, all those, there's a lot of people locally that go into that decision. And we try and participate in as much as we possibly can, particularly where children are involved, where families are involved. That's what Coca-Cola is all about. The essence of Coca-Cola is the family, and we try and get involved in as many things as we can. We do a lot of business in this area, in this state, even not just Horry and Georgetown County. And we try to look for opportunities that we can give back to the community and be a part and partner with other great companies and that are in the community.
Darryl, if you weren't currently the area sales manager for Coca-Cola Company, what do you think you'd be doing?
I think I would be in some type of service role. I like serving people and working with people in different organizations. Don't really know what that would be since I've been doing this since I was about 20 years old, 19 years old. It's really all I've ever known. But I do have a heart for service, and I think that I would probably tend to go that direction.
We're visiting with a man whose heart is in service, who works for a company whose essence is the family and giving back to the community. Darryl Ray's done just that with his experiences at Coca-Cola and throughout the years. Darryl, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks again for all the Make-A-Wish recipients.
Thank you.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Jonathan Smith coming up next. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Grand Dunes Golf Club in Myrtle Beach. We're focused on the Hadwin White Pro Celebrity Classic to be held here at the Grand Dunes June 20th through the 22nd to benefit the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And we're visiting with Jonathan Smith, a custom clothier and owner of Bespoke Carolina. Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning
Thanks so much
to you.
for being with us this morning.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Incredible all week. Now on Thursday, to think all week we've been highlighting what will be an amazing event. Coming up mid-June, the excitement is really boiling now, and surely all the recipients of the wishes, as well as all the volunteers who give so much to Make-A-Wish, including yourself, it really means a lot. Thanks a lot for getting in.
You're quite welcome.
Jonathan, real quick about yourself. Were you originally from the area?
Well, yes, I grew up in South Carolina. In my early days, I grew up in Columbia. And in 1969, we moved down to Horry County, and I lived here for several years. And so I consider myself native to Horry County.
Absolutely. You have family here in the area?
I do. I've got my wife, Mary, and who is also my business partner. And we have two children, Matthew, who is a senior at the University of South Carolina, and Jessica, who is a freshman at Coker College in Hartsville.
Oh, yeah.
And she's been really a pleasant surprise in the way she's come along. She was the first female student from Green Seafoyds High School to receive a softball scholarship, and she went to Coker College in part on her softball skills.
Wow. So, and Coker gives a softball scholarship, or part scholarship.
The vast majority of Coker students are student athletes.
Is that right?
So she's doing quite well up there, and we're proud of her.
Well, let's hope your daughter will tune in to Cable 7 up there in Hartsville and catch your dad on today, on Thursday. What is Bespoke Carolina, and what services do you provide?
Well, Bespoke Carolina, Greg, is a custom clothing company, and I primarily deal with individual businessmen such as yourself, or doctors, or attorneys, individual business owners. That's a large part of my business. The overwhelming majority of my business, though, comes from professional athletes. Specifically, I deal with pro football players. And what I do is Greg, I will go to visit these individuals at their home. Oftentimes, I'll go to a team's locker room and meet with several players at one time. But the focus of my business is dealing with individual men, one-on-one, and taking care of all of their clothing needs from the top down, all the way from your shirts and ties to your suits, your pants, your shoes, the whole ball of wax.
It's amazing, Jonathan. When you think about that, and you think just getting up in the morning and getting dressed, I mean, you actually you help someone tailor their outfit.
Yeah, I've got a few companies that I contract with. I don't do the actual tailoring myself, but I do all of the designing.
Oh, yeah.
I do all of the fitting.
Right.
I do all of the counseling, if you will, and all the selling. When I mention counseling, you have most men don't put as much emphasis or as much thought as perhaps they should into how they should look, what their appearance is. And,
Yeah.
you know, psychologists have done studies that indicate to us that when people meet you for the very first time, Greg, they're making decisions about you before you open your mouth or before you do anything based on your appearance. So your appearance and the way that you package yourself is extremely important in the type of impression, that first impression, which is a lasting impression, that you can make on someone. So, you know, it is very important, and I put a lot of thought into individuals. Not everyone should or can dress in the same manner. When I first started my company, one of my logos or my mottos, if you will, was to express your individuality. And in doing that, I try to meet a person on their own terms and take into account, you know, who do they deal with on a daily basis, what type of situations, Greg, they would find themselves in. Is it a corporate environment? Is it a more social? Is it a leisure environment? And there are different needs that need to be addressed, you know, attire-wise, to meet that and to make sure that you're wearing the appropriate outfit for whatever you come in, you know, that day.
That is exciting when you think about it. Truly exciting. And fortunately, obviously, you've got your wife as a partner, which helps gauge, as you may not know, a lot of the viewers today are women. A lot of the viewers, a lot of folks tune in oftentimes before Martha Stewart Living to catch a little bit about what's happening with Carolina people. And so the excitement here is that you've got a good female perspective providing, as well as your daughter providing some good impetus as to...
And she does. My daughter does come in from time to time when she's not at school, and she'll help out in the office. She has an eye for color, and she's expressed an interest in, of all things, going into interior design. So it's kind of a segue from clothing, custom clothing into interior design. But my wife is very good. She had her own clothing business in years past, and we kind of combined her skills along with her business skills, and she's just a good partner to have.
Jonathan, did you start your career as a custom clothier, or had you been in the clothing industry prior to actually stepping out as a custom clothier?
Well, Greg, I had a brief 2-year stint working in a retail store environment up in Columbia back in 1977 when the Columbia Mall first opened, and that was quite a learning experience. I actually tapped into a passion I didn't know was there, and that is a passion for clothing and dressing and helping others to dress well. And I worked there for a couple of years, and then I moved to Memphis, Tennessee, where I was introduced to the world of custom clothing. And I started with a nationally known company back in 1979, and I wound up working with that company for 11 years. And I was in Memphis for a few years, and then down in New Orleans, Louisiana for 7 or 8 years, and then I had the opportunity to move up to Hartford, Connecticut. And I was there for 2 years and realized after being there for 2 years and being successful that, you know, Hartford, Connecticut isn't quite the place for this good old southern boy. It's a little too cold. So I decided at that time, Greg, that I would like to venture out on my own and start my own custom clothing business and move down to Atlanta, Georgia in 1990, and that's where I started Bespoke Carolina.
Yes, and even out of Atlanta, you knew that you were going to get back to the Carolinas, obviously.
I had the pull for the southern strings. They were being pulled at that time.
Yes,
still were.
yes. How did you begin working as a custom clothier for professional athletes? That's exciting.
That's an interesting story. I was successful right off the bat in Atlanta, and there was one individual who owned a hamburger franchise in Atlanta who would have professional athletes do advertising or endorsements for him. And one particular individual was Deion Sanders. And I didn't realize that I was going to be meeting Deion Sanders until I walked through the door. He called me up one day and said, "I've got somebody that I want you to meet. Go to such and such a place." And I walked in, and Deion Sanders is sitting there along with Neil Smith, who at that time was a big defensive end for the Kansas City Chiefs. And Deion and I hit it off right off the bat, kind of a kindred spirit. You know, he had a passion for dressing, and I had a passion for selling custom clothing and making people look good. And he wound up buying 20 suits that day.
My Lord.
It was over a $20,000 order when you added all the shirts and the ties and everything in. It was very exciting. And as I was writing the order up after I took his measurements and all, I just turned to him and I said, Dion, you got to tell me, I've never had an order quite this large. What is it? Why are you so into clothing? He said, I've got this deal figured out. And this holds true for you, Greg, and any other businessman or any other person who wants to package themselves in a professional, successful manner. He told me, he says, I've got it figured out. If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, they pay good. So I've always remembered that. It has been very effective in talking to people because your personal appearance and the way that you package yourself, it doesn't matter if you're in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and your job just requires that you wear khakis and a golf shirt, or if you're a corporate, if you're a CEO, or if you're in corporate America and you need to wear a suit and a shirt and tie, it doesn't matter. You still have. It's important that we put the credence into to looking good and putting the care. It shows people that you care about what you're doing.
Right, absolutely. And those formative clients in the early '90s have helped you expand Bespoke Carolina going forward.
It really, God has blessed me so much. I tell you, when I moved to Nichols, South Carolina, is where I'm currently out in the country. That's where I live now. I had to question, is this a right move? And because let me back off just a second and answer another part of the question here. When we moved to Nichols, it wasn't so much a business decision. It was my wife, when I married her, she had 2 children, and we lived up in the Charlotte, North Carolina area for about 3 years. And it was laid on my heart pretty heavy that the children were not living together, and we needed to bring those children together. So, we did a lot of prayerful work there, and God convicted us to make this move. And I'm going, well, I'm not really sure, but it was laid pretty heavy on our hearts to do that. And so we went ahead and we moved down here, and it became apparent that all I needed was an airport, that I could go to and that I could fly out of to meet with my athlete clientele. And, we never missed a beat. We were very blessed. The business has continued to come in our direction, and we're just real grateful for that.
Absolutely. Jonathan, there's so many more questions I want to ask you about custom clothing and being a custom clothier, but we need to talk about Make-A-Wish. What prompted your original involvement with the Make-A-Wish Foundation and with Moose Miles and all the folks here?
Well, oddly enough that you mentioned Moose, it was on a sales call that someone had given me a referral to go see Moose, and Moose is a 7-foot individual who obviously has a need for custom clothing. And so when I went to see Moose, after we got past the clothing end of things, we started talking about different things and what he's involved in, and he shared with me his involvement with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I started thinking, I've been, as I mentioned earlier, been very blessed, and God's been good to us, and one of the things that I feel he wants us to do is to be selfless and not to be so self-centered in what can I do, what can I acquire in life, but what can I achieve in life, but what can I do for other people. And I felt a real strong tug at that time in that conversation with Moose. This is something that if I can get involved in, perhaps I can help some of these children that have a terminal illness or a life-challenging illness. And the Make-A-Wish Foundation, I believe, started back in the early '80s, and they have such a track record of doing good and sharing with other people. And I said, I'd like to be involved in that. And so, Moose said, we've got a place for you if we can figure out a platform for you to participate. And we talked about it, and we came up with a pretty good idea.
Absolutely, and this is an incredible vehicle. So you were involved in last year's event.
I was. After Moose and I talked, we decided that the best avenue for me to participate and support the Make-A-Wish Foundation would be to sponsor a putting contest.
Right.
And the way that works is for each individual who participates in the golf tournament, we have the 19th hole, where you have the 18 golf holes, but we established the putting green as the 19th hole, and we have a little putting contest that ultimately winds up with one individual at the end of the day, at the end of the weekend, who has won the putting contest, and he has an opportunity to make a long putt of about 60 feet. And if he does hit this 60-foot putt, then he wins a $10,000 custom wardrobe from Compliments of Bespoke Carolina.
Wow, Jonathan, that's amazing. $10,000 wardrobe.
Can you imagine what you could do with that?
I can't.
Well, I gave the opportunity to for people to come out and participate and not only feel good about what they're doing, but look good at the same time.
Absolutely. So, Jonathan, lastly, if a viewer wanted to learn more about custom clothing or bespoke Carolina, how could they get in touch with you?
I've got a real easy way to get in touch with me. It's I've got a toll-free number. It's 1-877-SUITMAN. SUITMAN, 1-877-SUITMAN. That gets me from anywhere in the country. I am local. I'm establishing my Myrtle Beach business, and I'm here fairly frequently. So I'm easy to get in touch with.
You heard him use the word selfless. It was a word that he learned at an early age and has committed his life to, and giving back to others is how he got involved with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Jonathan, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. We want to thank Darryl Ray and Jonathan Smith for making today's Carolina People so special.